All right, so we're back again for another episode of advice to junior developers, right? And today we'll be covering the topic of over communication and why it's really, really important in tech, particularly if we're working as developers. We tend to work in silos. We're just kind of, we'll pick up a story and we'll just start cracking on and working on it. Of course, some companies might be different and you might be required to do a lot of pair programming, right? But generally speaking, right? You'll pick up a task and you're working on that task by yourself, right? And you kind of just will communicate or close the ticket, once it's done. But here's the kicker, right? And this is really, really important, particularly if you're dealing with, PMs or managers or, the client and stuff like that. Make sure that you're over communicating what the status is and where you're at the moment, right? And this will begin to make a little bit more sense. Because if you don't over communicate or tell them like, oh, I'm at this point, I'm expecting this to be done at this time, they're going to start to assume that you're not doing anything or it's taking too long or whatever it might be. Say, for example, there's a blocker and you need that blocker to be resolved. Make sure that you're communicating that, maybe more than once if you need to, right? So you can highlight that problem that actually exists there and that, this is what's happening, with this particular ticket. Because, generally speaking, right, those that don't speak are assumed not to be doing anything. So if you make sure to just communicate a little bit more than you do at the moment, or get yourself recognized a little bit, and it will just show that you're busy, right? I know that's not the best thing to do, right? But that's just how the corporate world works, I'm afraid, right? So if you make sure that you're over communicating, where you are and what the status of the ticket is, it will go down well and it will work out in your favor eventually, right? You'll be looked on kindly by higher ups, basically. So that's my view on it. I mean, some people might disagree, but I do think it's important just to have a little bit of that extra communication about what's going on. Before someone reaches out to you to ask you what the status is, you should have already communicated. That's what I'm saying.